Hey there, welcome in. My name's Josh and this is Technical Tuesday, and today we're talking about Blender. Now this might get outdated pretty quick, this video, because this is Blender 2.79, and Blender 2.8 is a huge rework, a huge re-release that's going to be amazing, and they're changing a whole bunch of stuff in the interface and whatnot. It's actually in beta right now, so time will tell how long this tutorial lives. But don't worry, I'll be making more tutorials on 2.8 once that happens, just because Blender is getting so good, people have to know about it. But a lot of people already do know about it, so, you know, it works out. So here's the thing, though, is that Blender's kind of wonky, it's kind of weird, which is part of the reason why they're doing this new overhaul. But, you know, it's still really, really powerful, even though it's free, which kind of makes people confused because, like, well, wait, it's free. Doesn't that mean it sucks? Like, it's just freeware. Like, I should just save and get Maya or Modo instead. It's like, well, yeah, you can. Like, sure, those are both great. But Blender is also really, really great. So we're going to start to get into that. The problem is it's really hard to navigate. So already, like, how is it rotating? It's the middle mouse button. Some suites use Alt and left click, some use right click, you know, some use Shift. Like, it's really weird. So if you just hold middle mouse, you can circle it, right? And you're like, but wait, I have a tablet. Like, how do I use that? Ah, I'm so glad you asked. So before we get any further, if you have either a Cintiq or a Wacom or whatever, you know, I have a Ouija, what you do is you just go to your pen settings right here, put your first button to middle and your second button to right click, and you'll be able to navigate using your pen just fine. As a note, if you have a Ouija, a UG, whatever, it can glitch out and your camera settings on your pen can get weird if you use your pen to click between multiple monitors. If that happens, you just have to go through and change your button settings like this again. Press OK and everything will be good in the world. So, with that being said, if you left click, right now you see this little red circle here, this little 3D cursor. What you want to do, if you left click, you'll move that. You know, so if you try to move with the left click, you're going to get really frustrated really fast, because all it does is just place your 3D cursor. So, middle mouse button is what you're looking for. And then your right mouse button is what moves things kind of jankily. You actually want to press G instead of just right click. You can use either, but I prefer to use G. So that kind of moves things. Now, if you hold Shift and middle mouse, you can pan. If you hold Control and middle mouse, you can zoom in and out by moving up and down. So there's that. Cool? Now, if you press 5 on your number pad, you go into orthographic view. Which is really great for seeing things like perfectly in their edges from the right angles. If you hold Alt while moving the middle mouse, you'll snap to different angles. And if you're in orthographic view, this can really help you really nail down your perspective. Now, if you're trying to get a block in, you'll press 5 again to get into perspective mode, and then you can get these cool, like, oh look, this is a huge square, this is so awesome. If you press 5, you lose that, you know. And now it just looks like, you know, if you're up close in orthographic view. So hold Alt to snap it to different positions. Also, if you press numbers on your number pad, like 7 is straight up, you know, 1 is to the side, 3 is to the other side. So you have those options to see the different sides of your object. Now, this shading is really high contrasty, kind of weird, kind of obnoxious, but there's something called matte caps that really helps this basic non-render shading. So if you press N, you pull up this menu right here. T is this menu over here. So if you press N, you pull this guy up, go on to shading, and hit matte cap. Ta-da! Now you have some much more gentle shading, which is nice. So that's neat. And as an added bonus, you can also get ambient occlusion on here. Ta-da! Now you can't really see that because there's no other mesh, no other geometry, no other object in our scene. How do we do that? Well, now that you know how to navigate around, which is literally the most confusing and frustrating part of the whole process, press Shift-A, and you'll pull up this add little key here. Really, really handy. And go to plane. Boop. Now, why did it spawn over there? Because our 3D cursor's over there. How neat. So press Ctrl-Z to undo. And just, you know, you can experiment. Boop. Cube. Hooray, how neat is that? That's actually really helpful if you're, you know, creating a cityscape or something else. You can zoom all the way out and just start, you know, adding things wherever you want. Just click and they spawn there. Pretty cool. Control-Z to undo that, of course, as always. And so, okay, so you put your 3D cursor here, do a plane, great. Now, how do you make it bigger? Control-S, no, that's save, right? But if you press just S, you can scale it out. Now, oh my gosh, it's moving so fast. The cool thing is that if you have your cursor in the center of your new geometry, it will scale or rotate or whatever much more quickly than if you had it over here. So watch, if it's all the way over here and I press S, my cursor, look how slow this is. And it's annoying. I click through, here's the end of the screen, my mouse is going to teleport, boop, now it's all the way over there, you know? Kind of annoying how you have to do that, but it gives you more control. So it's like, so that's so annoying, why? It's like, well, if you go to the center and press shift, you can still have that control, but have it easier to see, as opposed to if I let go of shift, it just goes like, it's really, really sensitive. So you can just press S, hold shift, make it bigger. There you go. If you zoom in, you know, and I toggle that ambient occlusion, you can see it right there at the base. How cool is that? Just neato. So that's neat. And, you know, so there's that. That's pretty cool. Now, something else. Okay, I made this. This is cool. Whatever. How do I actually, like, edit stuff? Well, if you press tab, right now we're in object mode. Watch what happens if you press tab. You go into edit mode, and now if you can right click, or go to object mode to right click things so you can select them, and then now, you know, you can, I selected the cube, and now I can edit it, which is pretty cool. So let's say, you know, I want to move it up so it's not sticking down here at the bottom like this. Well, again, I press G, right? But if I just press G, just move up, I don't really know if he's going straight up, if he's going up and to the left. Like, since there's 3D space on a 2D screen, it can be kind of hard to control where things are going. So say, for example, if I press G and move my mouse button up, like, I want him to go further back into my monitor. I want to go back in Z space on that green line. Like, how do I make him go back that way? Like, how do I know where he's going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just move up, you don't really have a super good idea of where your thing is in 3D space. And that can be really frustrating for a beginner. So what you can do to really lock it down is if you press G, right, but then you hold the middle mouse button, it's now bound to one of the different directions. And you see this little dotted white line? The closest that dotted white line lines up to either the blue line, which is depth, let's see down here at the bottom left, this right here, how Z is up and down, and then X is the X plane and Y is the Y plane. Like, so that shows you, you know, it gives you some control, and so you see them going back here in space. So that shows you, you know, if I press G and then I hold the middle mouse button, it'll give me more control over, it'll basically limit me to one plane at a time. So if I want to go back this way, I just line along with the green line. I want to go this way, line along on the red line, or up and down on the blue line. And that really gives you a really good sense of control. And with ambient occlusion, watch, you can see how close it gets to the plane. Look, it's like really close. And then now, boop, it's now in the ground. See that? Pretty cool. And then just press left click to solidify that choice. So that's pretty easy. That's pretty nice. Something else to consider is this bounding, or this 3D cursor here. You can make things scale or rotate according to it. So right now, if I, you know, put that over there, go to this option down here where it says pivot point. Right now it's bounding box center, which means it'll be in the center mass of whatever thing you have selected. In this case, it would be a cube. Like if I just press, you know, S right now, it'll still do the same thing. But watch, if I hit to 3D cursor and I press S again, now it's going to shrink or get bigger in relation to that 3D cursor size. Or if I press R to rotate, it's going to rotate around that 3D cursor. Pretty neat. This is cool for like tires and just different things, because again, you can click anywhere you want and now it'll rotate around that, you know? Pretty neat. So I'm going to put it back to bounding box center. So here we are trying to edit things, trying to make things look cool, right? So what you can do is you're in edit mode already because you press tab, right? If you press control tab while in edit mode, you'll pull up this selection. So you can do the vertexes, the edges, or the face. And you can use each depending on what level you're trying to get to. If you go vertex, you can get the little corners like this, you see? And you can just move them. So right click to select always. And then G again, and you can just move it. Again, you can still use the middle mouse trick. Now you can just move this straight up. You can move it this way, you know, whatever. So we're going to do, you can experiment with that. We're going to do faces. Just click on a face. And we're going to press Control E, which is extrude. Or actually just E, not Control E. And you can move it out like this. Boop. Oh, cool. Let's make another one. Extrude that. Cool. Extrude that. Cool. Extrude that. Cool. Neat. Like, super really easy. Really, really, really easy to do. If you press on top of something that's like isolated like this, and you press S, you can shrink it down, just like the scale we used before. Ta-da! You can shrink this down. Ta-da! Like, honestly, it's kind of cool, the things that you can do. And then shrink it down on here. Cool. What you can do is that you can also press Control R, which slices your whole, and then if you scroll on the mouse wheel, you can It's called an edge loop, but you can create edge loops around your geometry, which is a way of subdividing it, which means giving it more faces for you to select, basically. And then you can slide these around, you know, press left click to confirm, and then you can go back and go to faces, and you can, you know, extrude these guys. You know, like, pretty cool. And this is just the start. This is just super basic. And again, if you're just doing a 3D block out to get perspective, you know, something like this might be enough for you, because all you're doing is just trying to get that free perspective. You know, you can press 7 again, just edit from up top. You know, you can just start extruding things. You know, press 5 to go into orthographic mode. Right, and you can create just the rough outline of a building this way. You know, you can do all sorts of things. And then, you know, you can press 5 again, and you get back in, and you can get like free perspective. Like say you want like a city like roof garden scene, right? Say this is it, and here's a little hallway. You have people sitting here. Here's the city street down below. But now you have that perspective. You know, just like that. Here's the edge of your building. You know, here's all your little windows. But here's the roof party happening up top. Right? Or say you're down on the street, you look at this building up here. Now you are, and all you have to do is just like with Gyazo, all you have to do is just press Control Alt or Control Shift and C, and you can take a screenshot and just take that into Photoshop, whatever you want. You know, and you can. The difficult thing with using 3D in a pipeline or workflow is you have to know how much to do in 3D and how much to do in Photoshop, and that's really up to you. So. This is just the first part of this tutorial. This is like just to get you navigating around, just to get your feet wet. There are so many tutorials and series of people who all they do is Blender. Their entire YouTube channel is Blender stuff. So definitely recommend you check out some of that stuff. I think either like what Blender Cookie or CG Cookie, that really helped me. I took a Linda course on Blender as well that helped some, but this is enough to start to get your feet wet, and we'll do more with Blender in the future. Something else really cool about Blender is that they have a tool called Grease Pencil that lets you draw in 3D space. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But just knowing how to operate Blender at a base level, especially as it comes to environment or architecture stuff, and you know, be able to press 5 on a number pad to get orthographic view is huge. Huge. And then also, I mean, don't even get me started on rendering and lighting in 3D, so you don't have to worry about all your lighting. So again, Blender's really powerful. I hope this excited you a little bit. Check out more tutorials by just Google Blender tutorials, and you will find so many people to help you out. But again, I hope this helped you. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the normal stuff. And I am so excited that I'm back. Holiday was great. Really happy to be back doing art stuff. So I'll continue to make tutorials for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing all of you next week.